This is a good day. It's cause for celebration. Do you guys know the theme song? Because it lives rent-free in my head. When you walk through the garden.
You better watch your
Well,
I beg your pardon. In the narrow track.
You walk with Jesus.
there we go.
He'll save your soul.
Gotta keep the devil
Way down in the
in the
hole.
hole.
Way down in the hole.
You gotta keep the devil down in the hole. That is the best part of it.
Okay, all right, you're right.
Guys, can you believe that it's been 20 years since this show first aired?
We haven't aged a day.
You have not.
No, I can't believe it. It's amazing that 20 years seem to have flown by.
Most of us, when we shot the pilot, we just thought, we just f***ed up HBO's track record. We're not gonna make it. We're not gonna make it. So for the pilot, it just felt like a lot of talking heads. It changed the narrative of how cop shows were being told. For all of us, when we got the breakdown, it was said, this is a cop show. So we were like, okay, Law and Order. Let's see what happens. And all of a sudden, we do the pilot and everybody's just talking. Nobody's getting arrested. We're like, this sucks. This ain't gonna make it. And then they got picked up. HBO was like, it's not TV, it's HBO. We're gonna do different story format. We're making a lot of money with Sopranos, a lot of money with Sex and the City. Let's have a little black show. Let's have a little show called The Wire. We don't mind, in Baltimore. Who cares? Give it a try.
I was flown over to New York after doing a tape that they thought wasn't particularly good, but they thought it was weird because I was doing it in the room with nobody else and reacting to silence. And so they thought, who is this fool? We'll get him over. And they flew me to New York and I met Wendell and it went really well because Wendell's so easy to act with. And then within 2 or 3 days, I was standing, in Baltimore in a intensive care unit with another detective who I was shadowing and a guy who'd been shot 8 times and was still alive. And the whole thing was a roller coaster.
You know, it's funny. I auditioned for a part that was a florist. It was for a day. Thank God I didn't do well. I didn't get a call back on it. I was like, yeah. And you know what, man? It goes to show you don't know what God got in store for you, right? Because if I would have got that, I wouldn't have got this. Flash forward now, I go in and I audition for this character. And it was a win.
Was there anyone whose performance blew your mind of the characters that you guys crafted?
Well, Michael K. I mean, we saw it we saw it in the read. Of all the casts, I thought, man, when did they get a load of our Omar? Because he did it in the read. And I remember all of us we all watched the tape separately. And I remember both Ed Burns and Bob Colesbury coming to me separately and saying, there's a guy on tape 2 with a scar on his, and watch him read, man. Watch him read this.
The Omar character, we never thought we were going to see that on TV.
Yeah.
We know they existed. We know that energy existed, but we never thought we were going to see that portrayed on TV. And once we saw that, we knew as a cast that we were taking different kind of chances and telling the story from a different point of view that we hope people would, at least at the end of the day, respect.
I think we were hopeful. It'll all work out. No, it just, it takes a little while for a cast to gel and for everyone to sort of find their place. But I think, pretty early on in the, process of watching dailies, we kind of knew that there was some chemistry and there was some magic happening there.
I mean, it was really clear that this was something really special. I mean, from the fact that there were, loads and loads of Black artists on the show, making it totally unique on TV to have that many Black actors, Black storylines, and the fact that it dealt so unflinchingly with really complicated social issues, not just, the racism that it was combating by having this great, huge Black cast, but also the, corruption of institutions like the police department and the city government and the schools and, all that stuff was, very compelling as an artist, to be able to be telling stories like that.
I always got nervous when the first started the air and I'm walking with my little daughter and they like, yo, crackhead, that's the crackhead, yo, you my man, crackhead. It was hard to, tell my daughter, no, they don't mean that. They don't mean it at all. I'm not really a junkie. Your dad's not really a junkie, no. I go to any hood and when I feel the heat coming, when I turn around, they're like, oh, it's Bubbles. Oh, we love you, Bubbles. It's Bubbles, not mine. It's Bubbles. You like my uncle, man. You helped me so much. And then, I get love in any hood. Bubbles, Nobody wants to hurt Bubbles.
Is it
Yeah.
the same for you, Jamie?
No, it was the same in the beginning, but it was more, it was a little different than Bubbles. It was more so, you playing my life, right? I got a package over here, what's up? Conversation like that, it was real conversation like that. That was always, I mean, I want to be you, Marlo, to I am you, to I just came home because I was you.
I'm glad the show's lasted. I'm glad it's on one level, its arguments are still resonant enough that people are watching it and it makes sense. And I'm sad that the arguments are resonant enough because it means the drug war is still going on. Mass incarceration is still plausible. There's still two Americas. They're economically and politically divided. I wish The Wire were a little less relevant, not as a guy who's pitching The Wire or selling The Wire or linked to it, but as a guy who's living in this country and watching what's happening.